Good morning. So today we're going to be continuing our unit on fact or opinion. We'll be using our research skills that we learned last unit and adding some skills on identifying if information is fact or an opinion. And we'll be seeing how they can either work together or against each other. We went out over our unit organizer yesterday, and if you have that handy, you can take a look at the left-hand side and see that our first task is to go over our new vocabulary words. To go over our vocab words, we'll be using the linking strategy. The linking strategy is a great way to learn new vocabulary words that is fun and effective. You'll need a piece of paper, something to write with, and ideally a blank linking graphic organizer. Let's get started. Okay, so here is a quickly drawn linking chart for learning our vocabulary words. I have 5 boxes, but they're not labeled in order. Here's number 1 here. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 1 is going to be our vocabulary word. 2 at the end is going to be our definition, the definition that we're going to be learning. 3 is a reminding word. 4 is a story, and 5 is the picture. And then here I have some notes on how we're going to test ourselves to see how effective our linking story and our linking chart is going to be. So let's get started. The first word that we're going to be learning is perspective. So I do have it written up here at the top, but filling out our chart, we're going to put our vocabulary perspective in this top left box. I'm going to be using purple. Doesn't have to be purple. This is just what is easiest for me. So let's go perspective. Perspective. Now, number 2 is our definition. So the working definition that I have for us here is going to be, and I believe I have this in red. Where's my red marker? Here it is. Red is going to be a particular attitude toward or regarding someone's point of view. So our word is perspective. The definition is a particular attitude toward or regarding someone's point of view. Now is the part where we have to be a little creative. So number 3 here is the reminding word. And a reminding word needs to have a couple of qualifications. 1, it has to be a word that we already know. I don't want to learn 2 new words when already learning our new word perspective. So our reminding word needs to be something that I'm already familiar with. And then the reminding word, it has the word right here, reminding. It needs to tell us, has to connect somehow to our vocabulary word. So it needs to sound like it, or it needs to have a similar, like a similar feeling, or it needs to be found inside of the word. So let's take a look at our word perspective. And thinking about perspective, I can think of a few different words here. First, purse. Purse is a word like a handbag or a pocketbook. Perspective, purse. Spect, maybe inspect. Peck is a word like a pectoral. Perspective. So there's some words there. The word that I like, though, is inspect. So I'm going to say inspect is my reminding word. Perspective, inspect, kind of having a similar word here, S-P-E-C-T, S-P-E-C-T, and then I just changed how it starts. So 1, my vocabulary word. 2, my definition. 3 is my reminding word. Now over here in orange, I have picture story. So this is going to be a story that I'm going to write that will help us connect that was my cat, if you heard that. That's going to connect my word, my reminding word, and the definition. My story needs to include my reminding word and needs to include important aspects of my definition. So inspect, it makes me think of like a detective. So let's see. My story here is going to be the detective will inspect from their point of view. So that's my story. And just because we're color coding a little bit, here's my word inspect. So inspect is my number 3, my reminding word. And then I have point of view, point of view here that connects to my definition. So I have my reminding word, an aspect of my definition. The detective will inspect from their point of view. Now, finally, and this could be someone's favorite or least favorite part. It's up to you. It doesn't have to be beautiful, but I have to draw a picture. So the picture is really going to connect to the story that I wrote. So I'm a big stick figure person. So let's do my little stick figure. Here's my detective. And you know he's a detective because he's wearing a detective hat. And let's see, he's got kind of a quizzical look, and he's got a big magnifying glass here, and he's taking a look at some evidence. Okay, so there we go. My detective is inspecting from his or her point of view. So now that I have my linking chart all connected, each part is filled out, I have to self-test. Now I can self-test forward or I can self-test backward, and I can do them both as many times as I need until I feel confident that I can see or hear the word perspective and immediately connect it to the definition. So to do forward self-testing, I would start at the beginning here with the vocabulary word, and perspective. So perspective, I can remember that perspective, my reminding word is inspect. And from inspect, my story, it involved a detective. So the detective will inspect from their point of view. And I can imagine, I can picture my little stick figure detective looking for clues from his point of view. And then point of view then reminds me that my definition is a particular attitude toward or regarding someone's point of view. So that was forward self-testing. Backward self-testing is exactly that, goes backwards. So then I would start here at the end and I would remember my definition. Okay, it's a particular attitude. There's something regarding someone's point of view. If it's a point of view, then, oh right, my stick figure man was looking for something from his point of view. He was inspecting. My detective was inspecting from his point of view. The detective will inspect from their point of view. Inspect is my reminding word, and perspective then is my vocabulary word. And you can do this individually. You can do this with a partner or a small group, creating this chart and then testing each other forward and backward until you feel very confident that you can connect the definition and the vocabulary word. So let's do our second vocabulary word together now. I have a similar chart filled out with some extra blanks here, and we're going to work through this together. Our vocabulary word is support, and I know that I start with my vocabulary word, and it goes up here in box number 1. So let me get my purple marker. And box number 1, my vocabulary word is support. So I'll write support. And I'm going to just fill this out down here so I can remember for myself. Box number 1 is my vocab word. Perfect. Now, the definition of support, I'm going to write in red over here, box number 2. Support means to give assistance. Give assistance to, or to help. Okay, so I have 1, my vocabulary word is support. Ooh, I just realized I forgot. Support. Okay. 2 is my my definition, and those two pieces I will always give to you, the vocabulary word and the definition. This is my definition. Okay, now let's think. Down here, number 3 in my second small box, what is supposed to go in there? Let's see. Number 3 is supposed to be my reminding word. That's right. So let's do reminding word. Okay, and then let's take a look at support and try to come up with some words that we already know that sound like or are contained within support. So let's take a minute and let's think about it. If we were in class together, we would put up some suggestions up on the board, but let's just take a minute. Okay, so I have soup, so let's write it up here. I could do soup, support, soup, port is at the end, port, like, bring your ships into port or something like that. I also have the word pour or pour, right? To pour something like down the drain, or pour a glass of water, and then pour as in lacking wealth. Support. Could do suppose. These are all words that we can do. If there are any other suggestions, go ahead and let me know. I'm looking at the options that I have now, and I feel like the best one for support is going to be this word here, pour. So let me do that. Is my reminding word is pour. Now let's move on to number 4. What goes in number 4 again? Should be our story. And what is our story supposed to contain? Is our story supposed to contain our vocabulary word? No. Our story should contain our reminding word and aspects of our definition, connecting these two together, the word that we already know and the definition that we're learning. So let me think. I have pour, I have give assistance to or to help. And I think a very easy story to remember would be she will give assistance to the poor. Now let me just double check and make sure my story has the correct aspects. In green here, I do have my reminding word, poor. And let's see, in red, I have give assistance to. Give assistance to here, give assistance to here. Good, so it looks like I have all of my aspects. And final step is to draw a picture. Go ahead and fill this out on your own. And again, I do my stick figure, so let's do my one stick figure. And she is happy to give assistance to the poor. And they are happy to receive. So there we go. She is happy to give assistance to the poor. And then now we have to self-test. And remember, we can self-test forward, starting with the vocabulary word, going through the steps, or we can start or at the end, and we can work backward. And you can do that on your own, or in a small group, or in pairs. Okay, and now it's your turn. So we went over the linking steps twice. The first time I showed you how I would have done it. The second time we did it a little bit more together. And now it's your turn to work with your partner or in your small group. Here are your two words. Word number 1 is going to be develop. Word number 2 is opinion. So our definition for develop is going to be to grow or to elaborate. Opinion is going to be a view or judgment formed about something, not necessarily based on fact. And this not necessarily aspect is going to be important because it could be based on fact, but it may not be based on fact. So word number 1, develop, to grow or elaborate. Opinion will be the second word you're going to be learning, a view or judgment formed about something, not necessarily based on fact. So go ahead into your small groups, write down your new vocabulary words in block number 1 in the top left. Put your definition over on the end in block number 2. Pick your reminding word. Choose a story that includes your reminding word and the aspect of the definition, and then draw a picture. We'll come back when everyone is done. I'll need 2 groups to share what they've created, and then we'll do some self-testing, forward and backward self-testing, to see how our LINCing steps will help us remember these new words and definitions. Okay, so now that we've gone over all of our new vocabulary words, here are a couple questions. 1, how does this method help us learn new vocabulary? And 2, do you feel confident in learning new words now? Think about these 2 things. Let me know how you feel about them. And finally, hand in or share with me your LINCing charts.